Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Dom, and we're playing Fairy Tail Online, and I'm going to be showing you guys ways to get free gold and the best characters, in my opinion, for when you start open beta. So first we're going to go to the daily quest. This is where you get your first gold. So you're going to unlock daily quest at a certain level, and you're going to have 10 tries to complete it. And at the top you're going to see 3 quest objectives. So the first one, you'll only have 1, and once you complete that, it will unlock 2. Once you complete that, it will unlock 3. So you have 10 tries, so try not to mess up too much and try to get complete the objectives to get bonus points. So you have D, C, B, A, and S rank quests, and I recommend only going for A and S if you want to get 135 points at least. 150 you have to do mostly S's and then a couple A's, like 2 A's and the rest S, or like 3 A's and the rest S. So they're pretty hard to get 150 points, but it's definitely worth it. Occasionally, while you're doing these missions on the daily quest, you'll see a ×2 quest. You should accept that because it'll ×2 all the rewards you get on the right side. So if you get 45 points, for instance, by completing the daily quests, you'll get 10 gold, because it's double the points. If you get 90 points, you'll get 20 gold. So that's 30 gold you can get from here a day. And as you can see, you can buy XP right here, and they're at discounted prices. If you are a free player, do not spend your money on EXP packs. I don't recommend that. Unless you want to be a high level, then I guess so. But leveling will eventually happen in this game, so you don't really need to rush it. So you can buy these packs, and what will happen is you will be, once you hit the specific number of milestones, so I believe it goes 150, 140 points, 130 points, and like 100 points or something like that. So you just get those amount of points and you'll be able to purchase these packs for experience. Next, we're going to go on to the guild. So once you unlock guild, I believe it is at level 30, or probably a little lower, like 20. Maybe 15. Well, whenever you unlock guild, join a guild and you're going to want to donate every day. If you have a big enough guild and a lot of people donate, you will unlock these packs. The first pack will give you contribution, and the next pack will give you silver. But once you hit 95 donors, you will get 50 gold. I don't think it's 95 donors, but it could be. But you'll get 50 gold, which is pretty amazing. As you can see, only 6 people donated, and we got 16 points. So just get a little bit of people in your guild and have everyone donate 100k silver a day, and you'll get 50 gold easily from there. Now we're going to go to train. I'm going to show you the best characters I believe in the game at the moment. So first we're going to start for tanks. So this is the front line. So Elfman you unlock really early in the game, and Elfman's super good. You can turn him purple, which I recommend because you're going to be using him for quite a long time. Unless you get better characters, of course. But Elfman is basically a blocking character. You will get a lot of block rate. The more you upgrade him, the more block rate you will get. If you go to his Awaken, and you go to the information, as you can see, Fury, at his 3rd awakening, Fury skills block effect plus 35%. So that's really good. And just keep reading down and you'll see death increases all allies blocked by 50%. So if you can somehow reach that, you will have a lot of block on your team, and you'll be very tanky. In this game, blocking, when an enemy attacks your character and you block, you will take less damage from them, like a lot of less damage, and you will do damage back to them with like a knockback, which is pretty nice. Then you have Yuka. He is the dodge character. As you can see, he has a lot of dodge. He has 20%, but it will also increase when you unlock his first exclusive skill. It will double that to 40. And you can also, as you can see, at his last exclusive skill, he gets 30% dodge for 3 rounds when the battle starts, which is very good. And from his awakening list, you can see that he also gets more dodge, which is pretty good. And whenever he gets attacked at his 5th awakening, he will get more dodge rate, which is really, really good. So, who to choose between Elfman and Yuka? Go for Elfman early game, and probably use him until maybe level 70. Yuka you can use in PvP, because the enemy won't be able to regenerate Fury, because the only way you can regenerate Fury is if you hit the enemy. So, by having Yuka, you can make a lot of the enemies useless on the first turn, or a couple turns later. Elfman is good in PvE and PvP because blocking does damage back to the enemy, and in PvE, doing damage back to the enemy increases your DPS, which is nice. For higher tier players or people who spend money on this game, the best character, in my opinion, for a tank is Erza. She is very rare to get, but if you look at her, if we go here, her first skill will have a burn for 30%. Now, 30% burn, don't be underwhelmed, because 30% is very high. As you can see, if we go to Totemaru later, we're going to be talking about him. His burn is very low. His burn is only 15%. So having Erza have it at 30% instantly is pretty crazy as a little child. Once you get enough fragments by going to rank up on your character, you can evolve them. And you need to collect these fragments. And each fragment will tell you how to get the sub-fragments. So it'll tell you where to get these specific pieces. So for Erza, I don't have her unlocked, but I know once you unlock her and you get her fragments up, she'll turn into this form. And in this form, the stats increase even more, but she also gets extra critical damage. And she gets 10% to her burn, which is very good. And at her final form, yes, it looks really cool, but it's also insanely strong, because what happens is she has a 50% burn, but her crit's 50% also. And I'm pretty sure she has some really high awakenings. So what her awakenings do is she'll double the attack on the 5th awakening, which is very strong. And at her 10th awakening, she'll be immune to silence, halt, and burn. Later we're going to talk about a character who has halt, who I think is very good and very budget. So halt is very good to have immunity to. Some of her exclusive skills are these, and this is why I find her to be the best tank in the game. Her first one is recover HP when the caster turn ends. So every turn that goes by, she will just gain extra HP passively, which is amazing. And then her second one, increase extra crit damage by 30%. So she has 50% crit, and by having extra 30% damage, you're just going over crit cap. You're just having like an insane amount of damage. It's really nice. Every percent above the critical damage cap is really high. The critical chance is just so you can hit, but critical damage percentage is just insane. It does a lot of damage. And whenever she gets attacked, she can reduce the enemy's attack, which is a bonus, because she's going to be attacked the whole time. Gajeel is also very good. If you come by him, I would definitely use him over Elfman and Yuka, by far. Gajeel is really good because what he does is he can increase your defense. And defense is really important in this game. Having 30% defense right there is very good. And over here, I think it goes higher. I think it just increases the growth. Yeah, 120, but it increases to 160. 160% is not bad for a tank, a frontline, but the defense is very good. And if I'm correct, one of his skills doubles his defense or something. He also, for his exclusive skill, will recover his HP. He'll recover HP if he gets hit, which is insanely good, because he's going to be hit every round multiple times. So he's just going to be very bulky. And if I'm not mistaken, the 5th awakening, Fury skills double defense. So your Gajeel is going to have 60% defense on his skill. Now, that is actually ridiculous. If you have 100,000 physical defense, 60% of that you're getting plus added to it. So it's just ridiculous. If I'm correct, I'm not too sure. And at his 8th awakening, when he has lower HP, he has higher defense. So this character synergizes amazingly. Some of his bonds for like Natsu, Juvia, Rogue, and Wendy. Bonds you want to get in this game, and I recommend bonds that give HP and possibly attack. I think HP is better because it scales a lot higher because you have such a high amount of HP that having 12% is going to add possibly like 10,000 HP eventually. So I feel like HP is the best bond you can get. Here's some of the bonds for Erza. She has a lot of bonds. She has bonds with everybody here. And if you get the full team, the Team Fairytale, you get physical attack and magic attack, which is nice. And these bonds, a lot of the characters have also. And you want to maximize the amount of bonds you have in this game. It's very important. Next, let's talk about the middle lane. So, in my opinion, some of the best middle lane characters are Sharia, and I think Sharia is possibly the best middle character in the game due to the fact that as soon as you get her, she's relevant and you can keep her on your team for a very long time. I wouldn't recommend upgrading her, probably ever, because her normal form is so amazing. So if you look at her skill, it has a small growth rate of 110%, but it'll increase your fury by 100 and all allies by 50. So on the first turn, what's going to happen is, if she's the fastest, she will use her skill, and everyone who already has 100 fury will go to 150 fury. Fury above the fury cap increases the damage your skills will do. So having 150 fury on anybody else on your team is very strong. So I think, in my opinion, Sharia is possibly the best mid character in the game at the moment, but it's kind of debatable because there's a few other characters I want to talk about. The next character I want to talk about for very budget and early game for doing events is Totemaru. Totemaru is very strong because of his growth rates, but also his skill is very good. As you can see, he can attack the front row for 210%, which is a very high growth rate for a low level character, considering you can get him at level 30. You can actually get him at level 22 when you unlock the spinning, the card flips. But if you don't get him from there, you can go to the level 30 tavern and buy him. So he has a 210% growth rate, and he has a 15% burn for 2 rounds, which is very good, because in events you want to maximize the amount of damage you're doing. So if you're able to burn the enemy, then you're just doing extra damage. That's basically it. And enemies can't recover when they're burnt. So, for instance, if you're fighting a team that has a Lucy that we're going to talk about later, who heals, if you have the enemy burnt, Lucy can't heal them, which is very good. Very, very good. Next one I want to talk about is Aragorn. And I was talking about earlier about halt status, how Erza can dodge that or not be affected. Halt status is very good on Aragorn because he attacks all enemies. So when you read his when you read his exclusive skill, when he is 5 stars, Fury skill may cause halt state. Normal attack is not allowed under halt status. He can basically attack the whole enemy team, and it'll put it on the enemy team halt status if you're lucky. Halt status is going to be very useful because the enemies won't be able to attack you whatsoever. Therefore, they can't gain fury, and they're just sitting ducks waiting for you to kill them. Some of his other stuff is pretty good, like his first one, Battle Starts, increase wind type partners attack by 30%. I think that's pretty solid, but I feel like his key feature is his halt status. Big Slow is pretty solid too. He'll attack all the enemies. I wouldn't recommend using Big Slow on any team because he's good, but that's all he's good for, is just the attack all for 120%. One of my favorite characters that I got in the closed beta is Gray. Although he's very weak and I don't like him at the moment, he can definitely become stronger. Once you upgrade him to his second form, he gets a little better. He gets 50% crit, which is very nice. But I think he shines in his last form because he has a higher growth rate, but he also increases the crit by 50% and reduces the enemy's speed by 7%. So speed is really important in this game because you want to be able to attack the enemies first, and by lowering their speed by 7% is really solid, especially later in the game when percentages are a lot. So to lower it by 7 is very nice. His awakens are also pretty solid. They're not bad. As you can see in his 8th awakening, chance to recover the user's fury when being, I'm assuming that's attacked, because he is in the mid lane, so he will be attacked, so that would be pretty nice. He can also become immune to silence at his 10th awakening, and if he's at full HP, which is going to happen in the beginning of the turn, if you end up skilling without him having taken any damage, you will have extra attack, which is really good also. That's why I like Gray. And if we look at his, I think it's his costume, his like cosmetic piece. Should be around here. Those exclusives are very good too. This first one, the crit effect increased by the current fury attack doubles. So as you can see, his second form, he was getting 50% fury. So once you unlock this exclusive skill, you will be getting 100% critical damage, critical hit rate. So he'll be critting every turn, and whenever you crit, you gain more fury. So from battle experience, I've been seeing Gray get his fury before everybody else. I'll show you for an example right now. I'm going to lose this arena fight, by far. I guess I can't do an arena fight. Let me just do a quick map. I need to do something kind of hard, so I'll go to dungeon. I'm very weak because I just been doing spins because I wanted to test out characters and stuff. But in this game, I'll have another guide later showing you what you should be doing. Let's look at this. So as you can see, there's Gray, and everybody starts with 50 Fury. So whenever somebody attacks, they'll get Fury back. First turn, it's usually always 50. It's actually, I think, 50 most of the time. But whenever Gray crits, he will get, I believe, 75 Fury, which is really nice. I'm not too sure. Let me check. It will have to be after his skill we'll be able to see it. This is Eve. So Eve, what he does is he increases your whole team's speed. And once you get his exclusive skill, once you get his Awaken, you can double the amount of speed your team gets, which is very nice. This is how my upgraded upgraded Gray skill will look. It looks pretty cool. I like it a lot. His final form looks amazing too. That is Lucy, which we'll be talking about in a little bit. As you can see, she has a very good heal. So here's Gray's skill. So as you can see, when Gray skills, you'll see afterwards that he will get a buff put on himself. And the buff should be 25% bonus crit. It should have activated. It could be a visual bug. But he definitely has 25% bonus crit at the moment. So next hit, he should crit most of the time, and he'll have his Fury before everybody else. I'd be surprised if we beat this because I couldn't beat it before. Well, anyway, take my word on it. Whenever you crit, you'll be able to get more Fury back. Just enjoy the fight, and then after that, we'll talk about other really good characters. It could have been an actual in-game bug, not activating Gray's crit, because he did skill and it should have given him the buff. See, that's Leon. His skill is not supposed to attack the front, but unless it was translated incorrectly. But it said it attacks the back row, but it attacks the front. It would make sense if it attacked the front though, because it does reduce the defense. The block rate. So I couldn't really show it with that example, but yes, critting will increase the amount of Fury you gain back. Next character I want to talk about is Natsu. So Natsu is really strong. That's about it. He does a lot of damage and he has a decent burn. So if you go to his rank up, as you can see, when he upgrades, he'll look a little cooler, but he'll also have a higher growth rate, a 210%, with a 10% attack buff. But when you fully upgrade your Natsu, you'll get a 270% growth rate, and that's just insane. Especially when you can awaken him. When you awaken him, you can double his attack, so he'll get 20% bonus attack. So this character is just insane amount of damage. I would take him in most of your events if I were you, if you upgraded him. If not, early game, definitely use Totemaru instead of Natsu. Or you can use both, if you're lucky enough to have both. Most of these other characters are basically the same. Like Kagura, if you just upgrade her, you'll get crushed, and it will give you 300% damage. A lot of the characters have it. I'm pretty sure Rogue has it, has his upgrade. He has Crush also. Another insanely good character is Sting. So Sting has a really high growth rate, but he'll also remove burning effects for allies and add Holy Mark to the enemy, so the enemies can't use their normal attacks. This will work on Erza because it's not called Halt, like from Aragorn. So Sting will work on Erza, so you can definitely prevent Erza from doing anything to you. And Jalal. Jalal is insanely good. Definitely a character you're going to be using in events, especially once you max him out. I would probably use Jalal and Jaria, definitely. That would be a very good combo to use. I think that would probably be the best combo in the game at the moment, Jalal and Sharia. So what Jalal does is he has a combo meter. What he does is he has a very high growth, first of all, but he has a joint attack rate by 100% and adds an extra attack for allies if joint attack is triggered. You can ignore that last sentence because joint attack just means that somebody on your team will attack after you. So they're basically just explaining it for you. So don't think it's like bonus everything. You don't get a whole bunch of bonus stuff. So the joint attack, after he skills, means that somebody will attack right after him again. So for instance, if you have Sharia, who regenerates 100 Fury, she will attack on the round and she'll have 100 Fury. Then Jalal will attack and he'll have 100. Then Sharia will use her skill at the next round, and Jalal will use his skill at the next round. The round after that, Sharia will use her skill again, Jalal will attack, and Sharia will use her skill twice in one round, because he triggered a joint attack, which is really nice. That's just his first form. His next form, he gets even higher percentage and even more stats. His strength, agility, and all that keeps increasing. And his final rank, it gets even better. So it has a very high growth rate. He has the joint attack, but look at the growth rates are much higher and they're very good. And his awakens are also very good. So I believe that 5th awakening is Fury skills have a chance to attack troops in the back. So not only will he attack the front row, he'll also attack the back row, which is very good because I know another character that has this. So that's how I'm able to predict if it is from the back row. So it definitely is, which is really good. Awakening 8 is probably his best awakening. I don't think any character has this besides Jalal at the moment that I can see, that I've paid attention to. And this is why I think he's one of the most top tier characters. Attacks to ignore some target's defense. Attack to ignore some target's defense. If you can ignore their defense, you're basically going to do whatever the damage is, like flat damage. So if you take their defense to 0, you're gonna, if you have 12,000 damage, it's going to do 12,000 damage times the growth rate. Well, something like that. So it's going to ignore full defense, which is insane. That's why he's so good. He's also immune to halt, which is good. And he has a 12 awakening. Level 12 awakening. Not a lot of characters do. I don't know why they didn't make it like that, but some characters don't have all the way. For instance, if we look at Ikaruga, right here, she only goes to 8. I think there was I couldn't remember the character's name. The Kagura? Well, anyway, some characters don't have their full awakenings, which kind of sucks. And I think that should be it for these characters, yes. So now we're going to the backline. So the first character we're going to be talking about is Lucy. You get Lucy for 1,888 gold, and I'll show you where to buy her right now. Once you reach a certain level, you'll be able to buy a hero's emblem. And it's right here. Once you buy the hero emblem, you'll be able to unlock Lucy. You'll be able to claim these daily packs every day, but you're going to get the Lucy shards instantly, which is really nice. And if you top up enough, you can also go here to the monthly card. And if you top up 100 gold, you'll obtain 3,000 gold in rebates. And I'm assuming it'll take 30 days to claim the full 3,000 gold, but you'll be able to get the rebates, which is nice. And then there's the permanent rebate. You'll get 1,000 gold, top up a total of 1,000 gold to activate permanent card. This means you get infinite gold back, which is insane. I don't know if they're going to change this, but it's kind of unbalanced. If you play a lot, I recommend topping up at least 1,000 gold. If it's double VIP benefits, then I would definitely top up 1,000 because you'll get double VIP XP. Because as you can see, when you go into the VIP tab, if it'll load, awkward. I'll refresh the page. So if you go into the VIP tab, you'll see that there's an EXP bar, and in that EXP bar, it will show you how much you need, and it's 1-to-1 ratio, so 1 gold is 1 XP. So I'm assuming that to get to VIP 4 is probably going to be like 40 bucks. So we'll see. Let me turn off the characters. So as you can see, here are all the VIPs. There's 12 VIPs, which is pretty crazy. So see how the first one says 100? So if you top up 100 gold, you will get VIP 1. Which I think everybody in this game should top up at least 100 gold. VIP 1 is very important, because with VIP 1, you can do something very important. If you go to the bar in the top, it's the tavern, you will recruit all your partners there. You go to bar, as you can see there's this thing called Get Star Souls. This is how you buy the characters. With the Star Souls, at VIP 1 you unlock times 10 play. This is probably going to be the most important feature for early game, because you don't want to spend 3 hours clicking buy one at a time. Times 10 is important. 100 gold is like $1. You're probably going to be able to afford it. I couldn't tell you for sure if it's $1, but it's somewhere in that range. So anyway, let's get back to Lucy. So Lucy is 1,888 gold, and you'll get her instantly. I'm not sure on the way to get her fragments to awaken her, because the only way you can awaken characters to level 3 and above is by having their fragments. So if you somehow come across 100 Lucy fragments and level 3 awaken her, she will have double the HP recovered, which is insane. She already heals around 7k, and she's a child. She's not even her upgraded forms yet. She heals over 7,000. Imagine doubling that. You're basically giving anybody she heals full HP every time that she skills. And if you have Sharia in your mid lane, and you have Jalal in your mid lane, and they combo and Sharia uses her skill twice, you basically have infinite skills, because Lucy will be able to get 50 Fury twice a turn, because Sharia gives 50 Fury each skill, and if Sharia attacks twice, that means she'll give everybody 100 Fury. So that's why I feel like that combo is very strong, but that's besides the point. She also can heal allies in the middle with her 5th Awakening, which is really good. And her 10th Awakening, Fear skills have a chance to recover 50 Fury. For the more likely it's going to be for the caster rather than the team, but if it is the team, then that's overpowered. It should just be for the caster though. Let's look at her skill. We have to go here. There we go. So her skill is heal the front row allies with a 120% rate. Restore HP at a 5% rate. So it heals your team, and then it gives you a 3% HP a turn, which is really great. At a 5% rate, it's kind of bad, but you gotta remember, 5%, it can only get better from there. As you can see, it goes to 130 and 10%, and then over here, 150% and 15%. I feel like that 15% is going to be very important, because just the amount of heals it's going to do over time, you're basically never going to die. And if you can somehow heal your mid lane also with your front, you're going to have an invincible team. Next, let's go on to Eve. So I was talking about Eve. I got my Eve to +3 in closed beta. It's very easy. You somehow will get a lot of fragments like me if you're unlucky. Even though he's a pretty solid character, I don't recommend using him for player versus environment. Only use him for PvP, because he gives you a massive speed boost. Unless you're really slow in PvE and you want to beat content that's too fast for you, pick up Eve. What Eve does is he increases your team's speed by 10%, and that's at the 1st rank. Once you awaken him to +3, his Fury skill will double the speed, therefore giving everybody on your team, besides him, 20% bonus attack speeds, which means whoever has the highest speed will attack first in battle. We look at his rank up, nothing special happens. Just, I'm actually not too sure, because nothing does change here. There's a possibility that it could be edited later and they'll fix it, but from what I see, there's nothing there. And this is the most important part. You want to get his exclusive skill 1, because he doesn't buff himself with his skill, so you want him to, he's not going to be that fast after you use the skill, because your characters could be faster than him eventually, which is not a good thing. So by having the first exclusive skill, he'll have 30% bonus speed before the game even starts, so he'll be able to attack as soon as the game starts, and he'll have priority on a lot of the attacks. And his 3rd one's really solid, because whenever an enemy will attack you, which most characters will attack the back or all of them later in the game, I'm pretty sure, he'll reduce their speed, which is really useful. If you pair this up with another character, you'll be good. Probably another character that will reduce their speed. I know earlier in the video I talked about somebody that can reduce their speed, so if you pair him up with them, it'll be very nice. Next is Leon. So Leon has a very high growth rate, and he reduces the block by 40%. It does not attack the back row at the moment, as you saw in that last fight that I was doing. But if it attacks the back row, this character will be God tier, because attacking back row with 200% is very high. Not a lot of characters can do that. Unfortunately, it's only doing the front row at the moment, which is kind of annoying. His third exclusive skill is really solid. It will release an ice barrier before the battle to increase all allied water partners' attack by 10%. That's a very good passive buff, in my opinion. Once you upgrade, he actually looks a lot cooler. He's called Sub-Zero Emperor Leon, which that sounds like an awesome name. But his skill gets a big buff. It goes to 215% and reduces the block rate by 60%. His awakening is where he shines, though. His third awakening, he will reduce all enemies' block by 8%. Was it his awakening? No, I could have sworn it was something else. It was his first exclusive. I kind of missed that. His first exclusive is what makes him shine. Turns Fury skills block reduction effect into 60%. So, I don't know if you could keep him as a child and get that, and it'll just turn to 60. But if it does add it, then that'd be 120% reduced block, which means I don't think they could ever block you. I'm not too sure on that, but if it was like that, he'd be very good. Hibiki's solid. He has high attack. He clears debuffs. He's immune to stunning and silence. He has a really good cleanser. He'll cleanse your team. He'll clear the debuffs. Very solid. Edolas Wendy is pretty decent. She'll give your middle row some damage rate, and she has a pretty high damage rate herself. Her first skill will attack double damage rate, which is really good. So the damage rate will go from 10 to 20, which is nice. And I believe if you upgrade her, it goes higher. No. Let's check what her exclusive skills are. Yeah, nothing special there besides the double. She also has an attack when HP is full. She'll most likely always be full HP because she's in the back in PvE, so you should be good on that part until later PvE at least. Evergreen is, I'd say she's like a medium character. She doesn't do any damage, hardly, but she can stun the mid lane. So if somebody's running a 1 back, 3 mid, 1 front team comp, she is like perfect because she's pretty dang fast with 1299 speed right there, level 37. But she can reduce the enemy's speed before a round starts. That's really good. And her last one increases the stun chance. So you're basically going to be able to perma-stun the mid lane with this character, which is why I like her. You can get Sherry in the level 15 Tavern. She is a very good pickup if you can't afford if you can't afford Lucy. Lucy costs 1,888 gold, so not many people are going to be able to afford her early on. So Sherry is definitely what you're going to want to pick up because she will have a very good heal. My opinion, it's very similar to Lucy's, besides the overtime heal. So I would recommend picking up Sherry. Wendy is also another good character. She always has 100 Fury, and she gives everyone 20. The reason I don't put Wendy so high on this list is because Cheria, who gives everyone 50 Fury, is on another level than Wendy. Wendy is really good though, because once Wendy dies on her second exclusive, she'll give 50 Fury to the whole team. Being that she's in the backline, they're relatively squishy, so if she gets one shot, at least you're going to give everybody 50 Fury, which is nice. And then we have the top tier backlines, probably the best characters in the game. I'd probably put this Mary Jane at probably like number 2 to Erza. This character is ridiculous, you'll see why. So she starts off innocent. You don't really think she's too good. She has a decent attack rate with bleeding, 15% bleeding, which is actually really solid. Then you upgrade her. She has like still a really low attack rate with bleeding for 15%, but she gets 50 Fury back. Once you upgrade her to her final form, she becomes a monster. She still has the low rate, but she has a 15% bleed, but she has 100 Fury gain back. That means she can use that skill every turn. Putting bleeding and having a decent attack rate every turn is really solid. Her awakens are very, very good. Her third awaken, she'll get double bleeding effect. You'll have 30% bleed on an enemy every turn, as long as she's alive. Her 8th awakening probably makes her one of the best characters in the game. Attack to ignore some target's defense. Attacking through defense, like I said with the other character, is really important. you can destroy characters with that. Most of the time, if somebody has more defense than your attack, you'll hit like 5 to like 200 damage to them. If you ignore their defense, you're going to hit maximum damage, and it's going to be insane. Some of her exclusive skills are pretty solid. Her second one, attack to recover fury. So on the first turn, if you have 50 fury and you attack, you'll have 100. And the second exclusive skill will trigger, you will probably get 125, 150. It will just increase the amount that you have overall. So every turn she attacks with 100 fury, she'll gain more fury to it. Like I said earlier, the more fury you have above the 100 cap, the more damage your skills are going to do. So even though this is 130% growth, that extra fury is going to make it like 180, possibly, something like that. Juvia is top tier, in my opinion, because you can get her really early in the game, and I recommend everybody getting Juvia early in the game and just put her as a bond, okay? Put her in the backline as one of your bond characters, because Juvia is broken. Early game, she's very bad. Like, this is garbage. That's why I said when you buy her, put her in your bond slot. She'll work with a lot of characters, and her awakens are pretty decent. I mean, as you can see from a early level character, she's an S rank. She has a terrible skill, but she goes up to 12 awakening. So, and her bonds, she bonds with a lot of characters, which is really nice. Like, as you can see, these are all very easy characters to get. If I were you, I would instantly pair her up with Leon and Totemaru early game, and you're going to be very good. You're going to be set. Once you upgrade her, she gets pretty decent. She can cause stunning to the enemies, and since you're attacking the back row, stunning a back row is the most important thing in the game, my opinion. Back row is where all your control is going to be, and controlling the enemy and keeping them from doing anything is, in my opinion, the best strategy you can have for this game. By having the fastest speed with Eve and having Juvia and having Mira Jane, if you have 3 in the back, those 3, you will probably never lose a fight because they won't be able to touch you because you're going to be stunning them to oblivion. This is the best version of Juvia in the game right now. It's her final form. You can't beat this. This form is very good. She has a low growth rate, but she increases her fury by 50 points. And she has a chance to stun the enemy for 2 rounds and reduce their fury by 50. Just the chance to stun for 2 rounds, because a 2-round stun means you're going to be able to do it again next time. That's really good. But to reduce their fury by 50 makes the enemy absolutely useless. The enemy, if you can somehow have fury on the first turn, and you skill and reduce their fury to 0, they're going to be useless for the entire game. You're going to win 100% of the time. Unless they're like ridiculously tanky and pay to win. You never know. Also, her third awakening is very good. Whenever she gets hit, she has a chance to stun the attacker, which is very good. And her awakening allied water stat partners get 8% speed. So I'm not sure if Eve is water stat. He should be water stat. Anyway. Yes, Eve is water stat. So you're giving your Eve an extra 8% speed, which is insane, because Eve's already very fast. So to have 8% bonus speed on him is very good. Her exclusive skills are pretty decent. Her third one, when the battle starts, halt an enemy. One enemy, instantly useless. Basically, you win the game. Because just to halt an enemy, unless it's Erza and she's immune to it, by halting the enemy, they can't do anything to you. So those are my favorite characters in the game at the moment. If you have any other opinions, let me know in the comments. Hope you guys like this small guide, and I'll see you guys later.